Hello, welcome to Herp Corner. Here we are in the Union Island of the nation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, specifically at Chatham Bay, where we'll be discussing the Union Island gecko, also known as the Union Island clod gecko or Gonatodes daudini, which, let me tell you, is my favorite scientific name. I mean, it's not as funny as, like, Boogeranus, the scientific name of the wattled crane, but it's just fun to say. Gonatodes daudini. Sounds like an Italian frog. It's actually in reference to Jacques Daudin, which I'm not super familiar with, but I suppose he wrote this book, The Socio-Political History of the Union Island. I am intrigued. Check it out when you have a chance. When you have the chance. He also has over 30 adopted children on the island of Union. Nice. Anyway, the Union Island geckos are super pretty, with brown and green stripes along their body, and big red, black, and pure white blotches. Along with that, they have these huge, expressive, bright red eyes that I love so much. Important to note, these guys are 3 centimeters, and no, that wasn't a misspeak, they're a little smaller than a paper clip, and weigh a little less than a pinch of salt. I'm not actually shorter than them, it's just perspective, I swear. The Union Island geckos only inhabit an area of around 0.2 miles, which is kind of insane. They're native to, as you might guess, the Union Island. To give you a good idea of where exactly they're native, here's a world map. The area they're native to is highlighted in mustard yellow. Can't see it? Let's zoom in a little. Can you see it yet? Oh, wait, hold on. Where the hell is it? Let me refresh the page. Okay, there it is. Took me a little bit. You get it though. They're native to a painfully small amount of land. With that, it's also important to note that they are critically endangered, which is awful. I hate that. They're especially threatened because, well, you know how they're only found in a piece of land that's 0.2 square miles? Well, there was recently a huge road built on top of it, which they saw and were initially like, no, don't worry about it. Building this road right on top of the few square miles an already endangered species is native to can't possibly have an effect on their population. Can you guess what happened next? Hey, can you guess what happened next? That, along with other factors, has contributed to their population decreasing by 80%. Man, the road was built in 2005? That's a year after I was born. I should have done something about it. No, but outside of that, additional threats would include the reptile trade and feral cats. Due to their beautiful coloration, exporting this species to the UK, Japan, Switzerland, France, and the US, among others, is very common, which isn't helpful for them at all, not to mention the addition of outdoor cats to the environment. Fellas, if you want to help out your environment, keep your cats indoors. Did you know that outdoor cats have caused more than 70 species of birds to go extinct? With that aside, they were discovered by 2 American herpetologists, Robert Powell and Robert William Henderson, in 2005. Oftentimes, you'll find the geckos along inland cliffs, mountain peaks, in the forests, and general rocky areas. They're more terrestrial than anything, terrestrial and crepuscular. Care for the Union Island gecko is relatively simple, especially given the fact that they're so small. The enclosure itself could work as a vertical Exoterra 20-gallon, bioactive is preferred, but not necessary. Since they don't burrow, a loose substrate also isn't necessary. I'd say to put more of an emphasis on hides, especially hides that are a little higher up. Make them work for it, you know? Since in the wild, they often hide in crevices on mountain peaks. The humidity should be around 72%, with a basking area temperature of the enclosure being around 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 degrees Celsius. Thermal gradients are harder to accomplish the smaller the enclosure is, but just so long as the warm side is around 85 degrees and the cool side is around 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius. I know that hearing all these numbers is a little overwhelming and kind of dull, but just bear with me, alright? Outside of that, I'd say a water bowl is optional. Like most other gecko species who live in semi-humid areas, they'll probably stick to only drinking water you spray on the glass. I'd say it's a good idea to have feeders present very often, not necessarily at all times, but most. Since they're insectivorous, feeders can include small crickets, flightless fruit flies, beetle larvae, springtails, and small isopods. Another perk of it being a bioactive enclosure would be that they'd have a consistent supply of springtails and isopods always present. Just some food for thought. No pun intended. Though, them being insectivorous may entirely be speculation, since there's little to no studies done on their diet in the wild. What else is there to their husbandry? Oh, right, handling. I wouldn't recommend it. Just at all. They're so tiny, like, way too small for handling to be safe in any capacity. They're not as skittish as, say, a day gecko, thank God, but still too unpredictable, way too unpredictable for casual handling. You can do it in moderation when transferring them to other enclosures or anything else of that sort. Just be sure to be a little careful with it and do it the least amount as possible. As far as breeding goes, there is absolutely no information on them out there. What I can tell you is it's highly likely that males are incredibly territorial. They're oviparous, with the female laying only one egg several times a year. They likely lay eggs in reoccurring cracks and crevices in rocks. Outside of that, no speculation or research has been conducted on the reproductive habits, and even that was primarily speculation, for the most part. But judging similar species and what makes evolutionary sense, it's a reasonable assumption. As far as gestation periods go, and when the actual mating season, or the height of their mating season would be, I got no idea. I have no idea at all. Real quick, here's 2 truths and a lie about this species. Let's see if you were paying attention. Which one of these is the lie? A. The Union Island gecko is arboreal, hanging around the tops of forests and mountain peaks. B. The Union Island gecko is a little under 3 centimeters in size. And C. The Union Island gecko is named after Jacques Daudin. Which one was the lie? Feel free to comment below. And you better not cheat by waiting for me to tell you at the very end, by the way. I'm on to you. Final thoughts are super beautiful species. There's an overwhelming lack of research on them, which I hope will someday change, though looking at the population trends, they might be facing extinction within the next few decades, which is really sad. However, there is something you can do about it. You can donate to the organizations working towards preserving this species for futures to come. A place of note would be Fauna and Floral International, who are, from what I can tell, the biggest organization dedicating time to the Union Island geckos, and if you live in the Union Islands, please keep your cats indoors. Well, I mean, everyone should be doing that, but whatever. Additionally, I just really wouldn't recommend anyone to keep these guys, unless you're an experienced gecko breeder. If that's not you and you see some for sale, ignore. Considering the reptile trade has really done a number on their wild populations. However, I'd hate to end this on a bad note, so let's take a second once again to just admire how awesome the Union geckos look. I mean, just look at them. Okay. No, okay. But that's gonna be it for this installment of Herp Corner. It's quite the short one. I didn't have a whole lot of articles or information in general to work with, so just bear with me. If you're interested in the topic, I'd recommend looking further into their husbandry or history. As always, sources will be in the description. If you like what I do and know a specific reptile or amphibian you'd like to see me cover, put it in the comments. If you learned something new with this one, feel free to subscribe. I do these every other week. Like the video to support the channel. Have a good evening, morning, or afternoon. Thank you for listening, watching, whatever, and I'll see you next time. By the way, the lie was answer A, since the Union Island gecko is not considered arboreal. They may climb mountains and cliffs, but that classifies them as terrestrial. Bro, trust me.